I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this. Just a few months ago, I was a freelance graphic designer, living the dream, or so I thought. The reality was far from it. My name is Ethan Carter, and I'm 28 years old, but I feel like I'm already running on borrowed time. My rent was overdue, my bank account was dwindling, and my stomach was growling louder than the late-night traffic outside my small, rundown apartment in Pinecrest, Ohio. Pinecrest was a town that had seen better days. The economy was struggling, and the streets were slick with rain, reflecting the dim glow of flickering streetlights. I had moved here hoping for a fresh start, but it felt more like a dead end. My girlfriend, Lena Reyes, was one of the few bright spots in my life. At 25, she was working double shifts at the local Applebees, saving every penny for nursing school. I admired her determination, but I hated that she had to work so hard while I floundered. That night, as the clock ticked past 2 a.m., I found myself staring at my phone, willing it to ring with a new freelance job. Instead, I texted Lena, hoping she could bring me something to eat. I knew she was swamped with a rowdy late-night crowd, but I was desperate. "Hey, you still at work? I'm starving. Anything left from the kitchen?" I typed, my fingers trembling slightly. Her reply came quickly. "Kitchen's closing soon, but I'll ask Mac to drop off some leftovers. Stay awake." Mac. The name sent a shiver down my spine. He was a line cook at Applebee's, and I had never liked him. There was something off about the way he looked at Lena, the way he lingered a little too long when he brushed past her, but I was too hungry to argue. At 3:15 a.m., my phone buzzed, jolting me from my thoughts. A notification from my cheap, glitchy doorbell camera. I squinted at the grainy footage and my heart dropped. There he was, a figure outside my apartment door, dressed in a tattered Big Bite Benny mascot costume. The oversized burger head tilted unnaturally to the side, and in one hand, he held a greasy takeout bag. In the other, a butcher knife glinted ominously under the flickering hallway light. My blood turned to ice. The mascot knocked. 3 slow, deliberate raps. Then, through the camera's speaker, I heard a distorted voice. "Special delivery, for Ethan." It was Mac's voice, but it sounded warped, like he was smiling too wide. I froze, my mind racing. My apartment was on the 3rd floor with no fire escape, and my car was in the shop. I had no way out. My phone battery was at 7%, and calling 911 would mean Mac hearing me through the door. I grabbed a kitchen knife, dull from years of neglect, and barricaded the door with a flimsy bookshelf. Outside, I could hear his footsteps circling, then stopping. A new notification popped up. Lena's text. "Mac left with your food 20 minutes ago. You get it yet?" My fingers trembled as I typed back, "Lena, he's here. He has a knife." Her reply was instant. "What?" I told him just to leave it at the door. "Ethan, call the police now." But before I could, the power went out. The darkness swallowed me whole. My apartment plunged into an inky blackness, the only light coming from my dying phone screen. Panic surged through me as I realized Mac had cut the electricity. I could hear scratching at the window. Somehow he had climbed up, the mascot's grinning face pressed against the glass, the knife tapping lightly. "You don't deserve her, Ethan." I felt my heart race as I bolted to the bathroom, the only room with a lock. I called 911, whispering my address before my phone died, leaving me in silence. Outside, Mac laughed, a wet, guttural sound that sent chills down my spine. "I'll tell Lena you weren't home." Then silence. Had he left? I waited, my heart pounding until the first light of dawn crept through the window. I finally mustered the courage to open the door, my hands shaking. The takeout bag was there, cold and greasy. Inside, I found no food, just a Polaroid of Lena at work, with "She's Mine" scrawl. The morning light filtered through the grimy window, casting a dull glow over my apartment. I stood frozen, staring at the Polaroid in my hand, my heart racing. The image of Lena, smiling and carefree at work, was marred by the sinister message scrawled in ketchup. "She's mine." The words echoed in my mind, a chilling reminder of the night's events. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I had never been one to shy away from confrontation, But this was different. Mac was not just some random creep. He was a man who had been lurking in the shadows of my life, someone who had been watching Lena and me. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was always one step ahead, always waiting for the right moment to strike. I quickly gathered my things, my mind racing with thoughts of what to do next. I needed to get out of this apartment, away from the memories of last night. I grabbed my phone and texted Lena, my fingers trembling as I typed. "I'm coming to get you. We need to talk." Her reply came almost instantly. "Ethan, please. Be careful. Mac is still at work. I don't want you to confront him alone." I knew she was right, but I couldn't sit idly by while he tormented us. I had to protect her, even if it meant facing my fears. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. When I arrived at Applebee's, the familiar neon sign flickered in the cold November air. The diner was bustling with the late-night crowd, a mix of truckers and shift workers seeking solace in greasy food and cheap drinks. I spotted Lena behind the counter, her face pale and drawn, but she managed a weak smile when she saw me. "Ethan, you shouldn't be here," she whispered, glancing nervously around the restaurant. "Mac is in the back and he's been acting strange all night." "I know, but I can't just let him get away with this," I replied, my voice low but firm. "We need to figure out what to do." As we spoke, I noticed Mac peering at us from the kitchen, his eyes narrowing as he caught sight of our hushed conversation. I felt a surge of anger and fear. He was the reason for our anxiety, the shadow that loomed over our lives. "Let's go outside," Lena suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. "We can talk in the parking lot." We stepped outside, the cold air hitting me like a slap in the face. I could feel the tension building between us, the weight of the situation pressing down on my shoulders. "Ethan, I'm scared," Lena admitted, her voice trembling. "What if he comes after us? What if he's waiting for the right moment?" I took her hands in mine, trying to convey strength and reassurance. "We'll figure this out together. I won't let him hurt you." But as I spoke, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. I glanced around the parking lot, my heart racing as I scanned for any sign of Mac. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt nearby, headlights blinding us momentarily. I squinted, trying to make out the figure behind the wheel. My stomach dropped as I recognized the familiar silhouette. It was Mac, his face obscured by the shadows, but I could feel his eyes boring into us. "Get inside," I shouted, pulling Lena toward the entrance. We rushed back into the restaurant, my heart pounding in my chest. I could hear Mac's laughter echoing in the distance, a sound that sent chills down my spine. "Ethan, what do we do?" Lena asked, panic rising in her voice. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. "We need to go to the police. This has gone too far." But as we turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of Mac standing by the entrance, a sinister grin plastered across his face. "Going somewhere?" he taunted, his voice dripping with malice. I felt a surge of adrenaline as I stepped forward, ready to confront him. But before I could say anything, he raised his hand, revealing a small object glinting in the light. It was a knife, and my heart sank. "Stay away from her, Mac," I warned, my voice steady despite the fear coursing through me. He chuckled, the sound low and menacing. "You think you can protect her? You're nothing but a loser, Ethan. You don't deserve her." In that moment, I realized that this was no longer just about me or Lena. It was about standing. The tension in the air was palpable as I faced Mac, my heart racing. I could feel Lena's presence behind me, her breath quickening as she processed the danger we were in. I had to protect her, but I also knew that confronting Mac could escalate the situation. "Just leave us alone, Mac," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You don't want to do this." He stepped closer, the knife glinting ominously in the dim light of the restaurant. "Oh, but I do. You see, Ethan, I've been watching you two for a while now. You think you can just waltz in here and take what's mine? Lena isn't yours," I shot back, my anger flaring. "She's a person, not a possession." Mac's smile faded, replaced by a look of rage. "You think you're so clever, don't you? But you're just a pathetic loser who can't even keep a job. What makes you think you can protect her? In that moment, I realized that I had to stand my ground. I couldn't let him intimidate me any longer. Because I care about her, and I won't let you hurt her, I said, my voice rising. Just then the sound of sirens pierced the night air, growing louder as they approached. Mac's eyes widened, and for a brief moment I saw fear flicker across his face. "Looks like your little game is over," I said, feeling a surge of hope. Mac hesitated, glancing toward the entrance as the police cars pulled into the parking lot. "This isn't over, Ethan," he spat before turning and bolting toward the back of the restaurant. "Stop!" I shouted, but he was already gone, disappearing into the shadows. The police officers rushed in, their presence a welcome relief. They quickly assessed the situation, and I explained everything that had happened. Lena stood beside me, her hand gripping mine tightly. After taking our statements, the officers assured us they would do everything they could to find Mac. "You did the right thing by calling us," one of the officers said. "We take threats like this seriously." As the adrenaline began to fade, I felt a wave of exhaustion wash over me. I turned to Lena, who looked shaken but relieved. "Are you okay?" I asked, concern etched on my face. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm just glad you're safe." In the days that followed, Lena and I took extra precautions. We changed our routines, avoided places where we might run into Mac, and even installed a better security system in my apartment. The police continued their investigation, but the fear of Mac lingered in the back of my mind. Eventually, we learned that Mac had been apprehended after attempting to break into another restaurant. The relief was palpable, but the experience had left its mark on both of us. As Thanksgiving approached, we found ourselves reflecting on the ordeal. We were grateful for our safety, but we also recognized the importance of vigilance. "Ethan," Lena said one evening as we sat on the couch, "I think we need to talk about what happened. It's important to process it." I nodded, knowing she was right. We can't let fear control our lives. We have to be aware, but we also have to live. That night, we made a pact to always look out for each other, to communicate openly about our fears, and to never hesitate to seek help when needed. In a world where danger can lurk in unexpected places, we learned that safety is not just about physical protection. It's about being aware, trusting your instincts, and knowing when to reach out for help. As we sat together, I felt a renewed sense of hope. We had faced darkness together, and we would continue to do so, hand in hand. Because in the end, it's not just about surviving. It's about living fully with courage and love, no matter the challenges that come our way. My parents worked late nights in a government bioscience lab tucked deep into the pines of Blackwater, Oregon. The facility always smelled like bleach and secrets. Most nights I'd wait in the break room with a juice box and a Game Boy while my parents pushed past midnight doing God knows what with test tubes and gene samples. Roy was the night guard, always cheerful, always grinning. He had this heavy key ring that jingled like sleigh bells, and he'd give me candy when Mom wasn't looking. He'd call me Champ and fold paper planes out of lab reports, launching them across the break room with a proud little chuckle. One night in October, he offered me a tour, said there were cool secret rooms my parents never showed me. I hesitated, but Roy winked and promised I'd be back before they even noticed. So I followed. We passed empty labs glowing green with emergency lights, each step taking us deeper underground. Then he stopped in front of a steel door with no label, said it was a storage room for special specimens. My stomach dropped. "You're a brave little champ, right?" he said, and the door opened with a hiss. He shoved me inside and slammed it shut. Total darkness. I screamed until my throat was raw. Nobody came. I don't know how long I was in there. Hours? Days? The cold ate into my bones. Something wet dripped in the corner. I remember curling next to a metal table covered in jars, whispering for my mom. Eventually, I heard her voice. Then the door flew open. She found me there, sobbing and shaking like a leaf. Roy was gone by then. Cops said he'd been stealing equipment. DNA. Samples, files, maybe more. But I knew. I saw something in his eyes that night. He didn't want money. He wanted me. I spent the next 15 years trying to forget. Therapy, medication, late-night panic attacks. I built a wall around that night and buried it, until I saw his smile again. 20 years later, I was mopping up vomit at a dying Applebees in Hollows End, Ohio. A once busy town now rotting from the inside out. Empty storefronts, methadone, clinics, and a mall that hadn't seen a full parking lot in a decade. I worked the graveyard shift, cleaning up after the drinkers and lonely souls who came in for half-priced apps. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid just enough to keep the lights on. Barely. My girlfriend Lena worked nights too, an ER nurse pulling 12-hour shifts. She was the only good thing in my life. Smart, sarcastic, strong. I kept thinking she'd leave me eventually. I couldn't even blame her. I was sinking, and she was tired of playing lifeguard. Then came Mac. He was a cook, this big sweaty guy who played the Applebee's mascot on weekends. He had a thing for Lena, started showing up outside her shifts with these strawberry milkshakes. Her supposed favorite. The catch? She's lactose intolerant. He knew that. Did it anyway. I think he's harmless, she'd say. Just awkward. But I saw it. The way he looked at her. The way he looked at me, like I was in the way. 3 nights ago, I was heading out the back to dump trash when I looked across the mall parking lot and saw him, Roy. Same stiff walk, same security uniform, older, grayer. But the smile hadn't changed. That awful smile. He stood behind the mall food court glass staring at me like I'd never left that lab. My knees buckled. I dropped the trash bag and ran to the bathroom, threw up everything I'd eaten that day. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "Remember the specimen room, champ?" I didn't sleep. When I told Lena, she gave me this look like I'd gone off the deep end. She thought it was stress. Said I was spiraling again. Maybe I was. Or maybe Roy was back. Either way, the nightmares had returned. November 22nd, 3 a.m., a few hours before Thanksgiving. I was alone at Applebee's, mopping behind the bar while the world outside froze over. The windows fogged, the buzz of a dying light above me the only sound. Lena hadn't texted me back in hours. Then I heard it. The metallic clang of the freezer door slamming shut. I spun around. Mac. He reeked of cooking sherry, his Applebee's uniform stained with grease. He cornered me between the ice machine and the prep sink. "You think you're better than me?" he slurred. "She's mine. You're just a mop boy." I tried to move past him. He shoved me back. Hard. My head cracked against the freezer wall. Before he could say more, the alarm blared. A sharp, shrieking tone that echoed through the kitchen. Someone had tripped the back door. Mac flinched. What the hell footsteps? Slow, deliberate. Then I saw him. Roy. Full security gear. Same keyring. Same uniform. Same smile. He stepped into the kitchen like he owned it, eyes flicking from Mac to me. "2 for 1 tonight," he said. Mac panicked. Grabbed the nearest thing, a meat cleaver, and swung wildly. Roy didn't even flinch. He sidestepped, grabbed Mac's arm, twisted. I heard bone pop. I crawled behind the fryer, bleeding and gasping. My phone slipped from my pocket. Somehow, I managed to call 911. The fight was short, brutal. Roy slammed Mac's head against the grill until he stopped moving. Then Roy turned toward me. That smile still plastered on his face. My breath caught in my throat, but the sirens were close. Real close. He turned, slipped through the kitchen door without a word. By the time the cops arrived, Roy was gone. Mac survived. Barely. But by the time the hospital staff came to check his IV, gone. No one saw him leave. Security footage? Missing. I tried to tell the cops about Roy, showed them the text. They said it could have been a prank. No proof he was ever there, they said. But I knew. A day later, Lena found a paper plane tucked under her windshield wiper, folded just like the ones Roy used to make. Inside it, a Polaroid. Me, age 9, asleep in that break room at Blackwater. She finally believed me, but it didn't matter. She couldn't handle it. Said I needed help. Said I was scaring her. We fought. She left to stay at her sister's for a while. I couldn't blame her. That night I found another photo taped to my door. It was me and my dad fishing, but Roy was in the background, barely visible, standing near a tree. Had he been watching me that long? My eviction notice was final. Credit cards maxed. Lena gone. I packed what I could into a duffel and left town. I didn't even leave a note. Just the truth, he's still out there, watching, waiting. I've been sleeping in my car on the edge of a truck stop outside Dayton, burned my phone, paid cash for a burner. Every few days I drive past the Hollows, End Mall, just to see. Sometimes I spot the food court lights flicker at night. One time I saw a figure standing by the glass, smiling. I don't know what Roy wants. I don't know how he found me again. But I think there's more. I think he's not alone. That Blackwater was just the start. And maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the only kid he gave that special tour to. The texts keep coming. Specimen rooms are colder now. Want a tour? In places like Hollow's End, no one checks them all. Security logs and monsters don't need to hide, they just need a key card and a smile. I always thought silence was a kind of mercy. After a few years overseas, quiet felt like the closest thing to peace I could afford. But in Blackwater, Kansas, silence ain't peace. It's warning. I've been driving a handicap bus for the county, 5 years now. Nights I pull shifts at the Applebees off Route 63. Mac, the new night manager, gave me the gig after my truck got repoed. It's not a bad trade. Half-price meals, an envelope of cash every 2 weeks, even if it's light. Mac says it's corporate mix-ups. Truth is, he's skimming, everybody knows. But out here, you learn to chew injustice like it's jerky and move on. 2 weeks ago, I was parked by the truck stop at 3:17 a.m., finishing cold riblets in the driver's seat of the bus. I'd accidentally hit the door lock, trapping myself inside. Then I heard it, scraping. At first, I figured it was the wind, but then came a dragging sound, low, human. I looked in the mirror. He was crawling under the bus. A man. Maybe 50, maybe 90. Hard to tell. Gaunt. Wearing a torn road crew vest slicked with motor oil. One hand gripped a box cutter. The other clawed the ground. His eyes locked with mine. I jammed the ignition. Doors hissed. Lights flared. He jerked back into the dark like some damned bug. I didn't call it in. What would I say? That a man tried to climb inside my nightmares with a utility blade? In Blackwater, you handle your own problems. Back at Applebees, I told Mac. He just laughed and said, "You're seeing shit, Cole. Lay off the monster." Maybe I was. I'd been averaging 4 hours of sleep a night. Bus hours were drying up and Mac was holding my last 2 paychecks like I owed him something more than respect. Maybe I was cracked. But later that night I opened my locker. Inside was a folded note scribbled in shaky block letters. "Doors won't save you next time." I didn't laugh. The night after I found that note, I started sleeping in the bus, parked behind the old grain elevator where no one bothers you, not even the sheriff. I'd keep the engine running just enough to stay warm. Seat leaned back, gloves on, knife on my chest, always. People think fear makes you run. It doesn't. It makes you freeze. Think about your breath. Check your mirrors twice, wait for something to go wrong. 3 nights ago, after my shift at Applebee's, I went out back to dump fryer grease. That's when I saw him again. The crawling man. He wasn't crawling this time, just standing behind the dumpster. Same vest, same dead stare, like he'd been built from bones and gravel. I blinked. He vanished. No footsteps, no shuffle. Mac came out and asked what I was staring at. I didn't answer. Just went back inside and finished my shift, hands shaking so hard I dropped a basket of fries in the sink. Around 3:45 a.m., I sat in the back office eating cold mozzarella sticks when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You should have kept driving." Attached was a photo, my bus parked behind my house. Only problem? I hadn't been home in 2 days. In the photo, the front door to my place was wide open. I didn't even go check, just drove by slow. Lights were off, door swaying in the wind like it was breathing. No neighbors called it in. Nobody in Blackwater wants to get involved, especially not this time of year. Next shift, Mac pulled me into the freezer. "You're scaring customers," he said, tossing me my last paycheck. "Take a week, get your head straight." "A week? I can't afford a day." He smirked. "Or we work something else out." That man's smile, almost worse than the crawling man's. I took the check. I didn't say thank you. I was halfway through a dream, sand, gunfire, blood in the cracks of my boots, when the scraping brought me back. This time it wasn't outside, it was underneath me, under the bus. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Just listened. Scrap. Like someone pulling themselves along concrete with nothing but nails and elbows. I reached for my flashlight, turned it on, and dropped to the floor. Pressed my face against the bus mat, like a soldier on recon. Then, I saw him, his face inches from mine, pressed up under the metal chassis. Smiling, teeth cracked like dry clay, I screamed. I swear I screamed, but no one was around to hear it. By the time I scrambled outside, flashlight shaking, there was nothing. Just tire tracks and a busted beer bottle glittering in the moonlight. I didn't sleep after that. Just kept the engine running and the doors locked. Even then, I swear I heard the scraping again, like it was inside my own head. 2 days later, I found another note taped to the rear view. Underneath is just the beginning. I lost it. Threw the note. Kicked the seat. Slammed my fist against the horn. I didn't cry, I wanted to, but I didn't. Instead, I went to the only person still working nights, Luann, the old waitress at Applebee's. I told her everything. I thought she'd laugh. She didn't. "You think you're the first?" she asked, wiping her hands on her apron. "Guy before you. Ronnie. Swore someone lived in the dumpster," told Mac. A week later, he quit. Left town overnight, never picked up his last check. I asked her if she believed me. She looked down, said, "I believe something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. And it ain't just me." That night, I tried, going home again. The front door was still open. Not kicked in, just hanging there like an invitation. The place was a mess. Drawers open, couch cushions slit. Old photos scattered like leaves. The weird part? Nothing was taken. Not the TV, not the tools, just disturbed. Like someone wanted me to know they'd been inside but didn't need to take anything. Like they already had what they wanted. In the hallway, I found a new note. Same handwriting. "Like your pictures." I left, drove straight to the Applebee's parking lot and waited until morning. The next shift, Mac found me leaning on the fryer. Told me he could forget the loan if I did him a favor. "One delivery," he said. "No questions, I didn't ask. I needed gas money." He handed me a cooler bag, heavy, cold. He gave me an address down off Buckhorn Road, past the old meatpacking plant. Place where GPS gets fuzzy and cell signal dies. I drove out there. Longest 10 miles of my life. No lights, no mailbox. Just a shack in the woods and a man on the porch. Tall, silent, wearing the same reflective vest. I froze. Couldn't even step out. He didn't move, just smiled. I left the cooler on the hood and backed out slow. Mac never asked for the money again. But I knew now. He knew about the crawling man. Hell, maybe he worked with him. Maybe this whole town did. Next night, another note on my dash. "Thank you for the ride. I don't work for Mac anymore. Don't drive the bus either. I live in it. Parked behind a mechanic shop that owes me favors. The seat's torn, the roof leaks, and the heater's busted, but it's mine. Feels safer than four walls ever did. The crawling man still visits. I hear him sometimes, beneath me, around me, inside me, if I'm being honest. But I keep a crowbar near my feet, a rosary hanging from the mirror, and one rule: never sleep too deep. Sometimes I wonder if he's real or if he crawled out of my war brain and took form. But then I remember the notes, the photos, the delivery, and I know. Mac still runs Applebees, still smiling, still skimming. Maybe he's the devil's middleman, or maybe just another coward feeding the dark to keep it from eating him next. Luann quit last week, left a note in my locker. Some things in Blackwater ain't meant to be buried, especially when they crawl. I burned it because I already knew, and now you do too. If you ignore the things that crawl in the dark long enough, one day they crawl inside you. And in towns like Blackwater, no one's coming to pull you out. You have to save yourself or sleep with one eye open forever. I was 22 when she first walked in. It was March 2021, middle of the pandemic. Half the customers wore their masks like chin diapers. The other half just coughed into the air and called it freedom. I was wiping down the booths at 2 a.m., trying to ignore the ache in my lower back when she walked through the front door. Pink medical mask, blessed necklace, hair curled too perfect for a desert town. "You're too pretty to be working here, sweetheart," she said with a sugary voice. One of those women who called you honey while sharpening a knife behind her back. She offered me a job, maid, service $30 an hour, no taxes, no boss breathing down my neck. Said, "We help girls like you disappear better." I hesitated. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. And her nails? Too clean for someone who scrubs toilets. Then I saw the two men, sitting in a booth near the back. One of them had a knife scar through his eyebrow, and eyes like dead fish. They didn't eat, didn't drink, just watched. Lena, our overnight cook, slammed a fryer basket down behind the counter. "Order up, Jazz, now!" I bolted to the kitchen. My legs weren't even mine. Lena didn't look up from the grill. "They're traffickers," she said. "They promise you the world, then sell it back to you in pieces." The woman and her shadows left without paying. Before she did, she slid a napkin across the counter. Phone number. I didn't even touch it. I burned it in the fryer grease that night, watched it curl and vanish. I didn't sleep when I got home. Just stared at the ceiling of the trailer, wondering how close I came to vanishing, and if anyone would have even noticed. It's funny how time lies to you. 2 years go by and you think you've outrun the worst of it. You haven't. It's November now. I'm shift lead at the same Applebees, not because I wanted to climb the ladder, but because I'm the only one who stuck around. Lena's gone. Stabbed. Her ex in a Walmart lot after he followed her with a tire iron. She didn't wait for the trial. Just vanished into the hills. My roommate Sarah OD'd last year. Fentanyl-laced coke from a long-haul trucker who swore he just wanted to party. The trailer's rent keeps climbing, and my car only starts if I pump the gas pedal 3 times and pray. Then 3 nights ago, I saw her again. I knew it before I even turned around. Felt it like static on my skin. That same damn necklace. Blessed. That same voice buttered with fake kindness. She was in a booth in the corner, whispering to a girl who couldn't have been more than 16. Wide eyes, cracked phone screen in her hand, nodding like she wanted someone to tell her she mattered. The girl looked like my little sister, Sophia, the one who went missing in 2019 and never came back. I called the cops, told them everything. When they arrived 20 minutes later, the booth was empty. Just a napkin left behind, a smudged phone number, and a lipstick stain in the shape of a smile. I kept that napkin. Not because I needed it, because I wanted to remember. Later that night, I walked home with my pepper spray in one hand and my keys between my fingers like claws. I didn't feel safe. I felt watched, and I was. The next night, just after the late rush died, I was rolling silverware at the bar when the bell over the door jingled. It was him. Scar eyebrow, alone this time. No orders, no smile, no mask. He walked in like he belonged, sat at the bar and stared at me like I was a side of beef. I played it cool, asked if he wanted anything. "Just a Coke," he muttered. I poured it and walked it over. He didn't touch it. Instead, he slid a $50 tip across the counter, folded, into a paper plane. I stared at it like it was a trap. It was. When he left, I unfolded it. Inside was a photo of Sophia, not the one from her missing posters. This was new. She looked older, hair dyed lighter, a motel bathroom in the background. The timestamp said, 2 weeks ago on the back, written in thick marker, "She's still pretty. You want her back? Call us." My legs buckled. I locked myself in the office and dry heaved into the trash can. I didn't go home that night. Couldn't. The trailer felt too exposed. I slept in my car behind the grocery store with the windows cracked and a box cutter in my hoodie pocket. The next morning, my neighbor banged on my door. "Jazz, your trailer's been broken into." Nothing was stolen, but every drawer had been pulled open. My underwear dumped onto the floor. Sophia's old photo album was missing. They were telling me, "We can get in. We know where you sleep." I reported it. Cops shrugged. No sign of forced entry. Could have been a prank. They didn't believe me, they never do. But I believe what I saw, and I believe Sophia is still alive. I used to check Sophia's Instagram every night before bed, even after she vanished. Like she'd send some signal through the void. After 2 years of silence, I stopped. But last week, something changed. A new post. One blurry photo, taken in a dingy motel mirror. The caption read, "Miss you." I stared at it until my eyes burned. The account had been deleted back in 2019. I watched the detective deactivate it himself, said it would keep predators from sniffing around. So how was it back now? I flagged the photo, took screenshots, drove to the sheriff's office and showed Gar, the deputy on duty. He looked bored, said maybe it was just a glitch or someone playing games. I asked if he'd trace the IP. He shrugged. "Instagram doesn't work like that. You want action? Call the feds." I walked out. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage. She's alive. I know it now. And they're using her to get to me. The woman came back the next night, stood outside Applebee's staring through the glass, didn't come in, just waited until I noticed her, then waved. She was wearing the necklace. Blessed. That damn word is like a branding iron. Told my manager I had cramps. Clocked out early. At home, I sat in the dark with a kitchen knife and Sophia's missing person flyer spread out on the table. It's not a coincidence, it's a message. They're baiting me. The question is, am I going to bite? I didn't go to work today, or yesterday. I told my boss I had the flu. He didn't care. He just asked if I'd clean the soda machine when I got back. I've been watching, waiting, planning. The number from the napkin? I called it from a burner phone. A woman answered. Her voice was soft, kind. "Jazz?" she said. She knew my name. "I just want to talk," she cooed. "You don't have to be scared." I hung up. I'm not scared anymore, just angry, I think, about Sophia all the time now. How she used to sing to herself while brushing her hair. How she cried when Dad left. How she looked at me like I could protect her, and I didn't. But maybe I still can. I have a friend in Reno who works at a non-profit for missing girls. I reached out, sent them everything. The photo, the napkin, the Instagram post. They believe. Me, I don't know if we'll find her or if she's already too far gone, but I'm going to try because if I don't, then that woman's smile wins. Not all monsters hide under beds. Some wear pink masks and call you sweetheart. Some girls don't disappear by accident. Some are taken slowly, silently, with a smile. And in towns like Redwood Flats, you don't wait for someone to save you. You fight, because no one's more dangerous than a girl who's lost everything, except a girl who's got nothing left to lose. I used to think I had it all figured out. My name is Travis Mitchell, and at 28, I was the assistant manager of the Applebees off I-95 in Jacksonville, Florida. I had a steady job, a beautiful girlfriend named Emily, and dreams of proposing to her with a ring I was saving up for. She smelled like vanilla, and every time she walked by, it felt like the world lit up. But that was before everything fell apart. After showing up drunk to work twice, I was demoted to line cook. I thought I could bounce back, but the shame of it all weighed me down. I started eating the leftover appetizers, and before I knew it, I had packed on 85 pounds. Emily left me for a Chili's manager, and I found myself living in my dad's trailer, drowning in regret and fast food wrappers. Now I was just a shadow of my former self, stuck in a faded franchise with sticky booths and a broken neon sign that read Applebees. I spent my shifts cooking, but all I could think about was how I had let everything slip through my fingers. After Emily left, I fell into a routine that was both comforting and suffocating. I started calling Applebee's just to hear her old voicemail, the sound of her voice a bittersweet reminder of what I had lost. I ordered her favorite Oriental chicken salad every shift, hoping to taste a piece of her again. But the memories were tainted. One humid afternoon, I discovered maggots in the ranch dressing. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had been serving that dressing to customers, and it hit me hard. I realized the salad was never put in the system, and I was just a cog in a machine that didn't care about quality or safety. Then one day, I saw Emily's car parked in the lot, watching me through the window. My heart raced. I wanted to run outside to tell her how much I missed her, but I was paralyzed by shame. Instead, I buried myself in work, hoping to forget the reality of my situation. The maggots were just the beginning. After that incident, I was hospitalized for 3 days due to food poisoning. I had thought I was invincible, but my body had other plans. When I returned to work, I was met with cold stares and whispers. My boss accused me of stealing food, and no one believed my story about the maggots. I was fired that day, and it felt like the final nail in my coffin. My dad kicked me out of his trailer, calling me a damn loser. I had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. I spent my nights sleeping in my '98 Corolla behind the Walmart, the smell of teriyaki sauce haunting me like a ghost. I had lost everything: my job, my home, and the woman I loved. I felt like I was rotting away, and nobody seemed to notice. I was just another statistic in a world that didn't care. Living in my car became my new reality. I parked behind the Walmart, trying to blend in with the other lost souls who had fallen on hard times. I would wake up to the sound of shopping carts and the smell of stale fast food. My life had become a series of desperate attempts to survive, and I felt invisible. Every time I passed the Applebees, I could smell the teriyaki sauce wafting through the air, and it sent me into a panic. I would sit in my car watching the restaurant, hoping to catch a glimpse of Emily. Last week, I saw her training a new hostess through the window, and it felt like a dagger to my heart. I wanted to scream, to tell her how much I missed her, but I was too ashamed. I had become a ghost haunting the place where I once felt alive. My entire identity was tied to that restaurant, and now I was nothing. One evening, as I sat in my car, I had a moment of clarity. I realized that my entire identity had been wrapped up in that Applebee's, and I had let it define me. At 28, I had no skills, no savings, and no future. I was rotting away, and it was time to face the truth. I needed to make a change. I couldn't keep living like this, clinging to the past. I started looking for jobs, anything that would get me out of this downward spiral. I applied to local warehouses, fast food joints, and even grocery stores. It was a slow process,